Let's talk about the importance of recording your practice. Now, I think most of us have heard the saying, practice makes perfect, or perfect practice makes perfect. But I don't really buy into those sayings so much, because we're not aiming to be perfect. We're never going to be perfect in our guitar playing. There are some guitar players out there who are pretty damn close, I'll admit, but they're not perfect. They make mistakes. That's not what we're aiming for. We're just aiming to make music and enjoy ourselves and enjoy this journey of playing the guitar that we're on. Now, of course, if you were to practice for, I don't know, a year, pretty consistently, every single day for 15, 20 minutes, then inevitably you would naturally just start to get better. You would expect to. That's what you'd expect to happen. But if you actually measure and record your progress, then you've got a far better chance of being able to improve, because you have a much clearer idea of where you actually are on the guitar at that point. So there's a saying that goes, what can't be measured can't be improved. Therefore, it stands to reason what can be measured can be improved. Or in the very least, you've got a much better chance of improving if you measure things. And I like to do that with my practice routine in a spreadsheet. And we're going to dive into a spreadsheet which has been set up for beginners. I'm going to show you a few example practice routines of what beginners might do. This spreadsheet will be available for download as well, so you can download it and try some of these routines for yourself. But of course, depending on where you are, everyone's journey is unique. You might want to switch these up, or you might even want to try these routines as part of your daily guitar thing. All right, let's dive into the spreadsheet. So here is the practice spreadsheet that I've set up for beginner guitarists. Now, if we have a look along the top here, typical kind of spreadsheet layout, of course, we've got our date that we practiced on. We've got the actual exercise or exercises that we practice. We've got whether we completed the exercise in the form of a drop-down menu, yes or no. The beats per minute that we practice at. So we want to be using our metronome just to put that little bit of time pressure on ourselves for some of these exercises. But I'll explain what free time means in just a second. The amount of time we spend on the exercise, and then any notes that we feel about it. In your notes section, you might put things like, up by 5 BPM, like here we've gone to 65, or whether it felt a little bit easier, or maybe you felt a little bit of wrist tension, so you felt you had to stop for a little bit and then come back to it. You'd make notes on all those kind of things, okay? So, of course, in the date section, this is the 1st of April. So on the 1st of April, we'd practice chord switching a 3-note C major to a 3-note G major chord. Did we complete that? Yes. We did that exercise at 60 beats per minute. Now, with this kind of exercise chord switching, we would typically change chord on every first beat, and that's how we would measure it. So change, 2, 3, 4, change, 2, 3, 4. And we would repeat that as many times as we could in 5 minutes. And if anything ever hurts when you're practicing or it feels a bit tense, then just stop for 10 seconds and then come back into it. Never do anything that's painful ever, okay? So you definitely want to avoid that. And the next exercise here, we've got a strumming pattern, down, up. So strumming downwards with a downstroke and then strumming upwards with an upstroke. And then whether we've completed that, yes. How fast did we practice it? How many beats per minute? 60. We spent 5 minutes. And then the single string E minor scale. Now, if you've done a lesson with me before and I've taught you the single string E minor scale, I would have taught it using the say it 3 times, play it 3 times method. So 0, 2, 3, 5, 0, 2, 3, 5, 0, 2, 3, 5. And then you'd actually play that with the first finger, making sure that you maintain that correct hand position, like you're holding a can of Coke or like a Lego hand. And then did we complete it? Yes. And then it says here free time, because sometimes when you're doing an exercise, you might not be at the point where you're ready to actually put the metronome on, because you might just be learning that exercise and internalizing how it goes. And if you're still in that stage of the learning process, then you don't want to put the metronome on and put that pressure on too quickly, because it's just going to hinder your progress. And then we spent 5 minutes. And then what we can see is we've got the 2nd of April with the exact same practice routine. And in the notes section, felt a little bit easier. And then let's say we didn't get to practice on the 3rd of April. We then did get to practice on the 4th of April, and we got the same routine again. yes, yes, yes. But then we can see here in the beats per minute, just for example, we might have been more comfortable going up to 65 beats per minute with our chord changes, and hence the reason we made a note of up by 5 BPM. So that spreadsheet will be available for download in the download section of Ready, Set, Fret, so you can take that. And one last final note is that in my practice routine, I'll have the months along the bottom as well. So everything I did in April will be on this tab. Then May, obviously you'd have to paste the information in and then delete as necessary and re-enter new things, and June as well. And also, as for how often you would change these exercises, well, once you get comfortable with one, that's a good time to change it up. You know, if you get comfortable with the change between C major and the 3-note G major, then you might want to try going from C major to another chord, and then C major to another chord. And then once you feel comfortable going from C major to all the other 3-note chords, then you can switch to another combination, and you've just got to, you kind of develop it that way. Okay. So that is an idea of how you would use a spreadsheet to practice, and this is something that the pros would use, except they'd be looking at 3 hours, 4 hours, 6, 7 hours, or whatever, however long their routine is. There it is. I hope that's helpful for you.